Thou wast perfect in thy ways, from the day that thou wast created, till iniquity was found in thee.
Welcome once again to the Steve tutorial. Today we are going to look at the possibility that there are some voices in music which were lost. Of course, as today we only know of 4 types of human voices which we shall look later. But there are many people who claim that Lucifer, Saturn before he was thrown from heaven, could actually sing using 7 voices at the same time. Yeah, you heard me right, 7 voices at the same time. And also there are many clues in the Bible which show us that indeed Lucifer was the head of choir in heaven. But the question is, how true are these claims? So today this video is going to answer some of those questions. Stay tuned to the end. But before we continue, as usual, hit the subscription button below, like, comment and share the video. So we are going to begin by looking at how do humans produce sound. So of course we know that we have the trachea, we have the larynx. So the way you vary how the air comes out of the lungs through the larynx, that's how you produce sound. And of course the chest is involved, the lungs, and that's why as the larynx develops, as you grow from childhood to adulthood, your voice is prone to change. So that's just a quick reminder on how the human voice is produced. Then the other thing that we are going to talk about is the classification or the types that we have of human voices. So as I said, as of now, we have 4 main types of voices. Of course, there are sub-classification, but the recognized voices are only 4. So we begin with soprano. Soprano is the highest female voice. The range is typically from C4 to C6. Then the second type of voice is contralto or alto. Contralto or alto, the lowest female voice, typically the range from F3 to F5.
You were loving someone new.
Then we go to tenor, which is the highest male voice, the range from C4 to C6. Then you go to bass, which is the lowest male voice. Range is typically from E2 to E6. So before we continue, I would like to pose a question to you. Do you know your voice type, or what type of voice do you sing? Hit the comment below and say which type of voice you have, or also if you don't know, just hit the comment on the video below. And also another interesting question is, some people say that they cannot sing or they don't have a talent to sing. Do you think that it's possible that these are the people maybe who had the other 3 kinds of voices that were lost, and maybe our ears are not able to hear them? Also comment the same on the video below. So we find that the reason as to why we have the different types of voices, you find that the human voice range is limited and people only manage to sing perfectly within their voice range. If you try to sing outside your voice range, it will be difficult, and that is very practical if you try to even hum a song. So my buddy Johnny, can you give us again today a short song which is your favorite?
Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday dear.
Great, thank you. So before we proceed, we talk about a certain term in music which is known as the 4-part harmony. Now the 4-part harmony refers to music written for the 4 human voices that you have said, the soprano, alto, tenor and bass. Now the 4-part harmony can also apply to instruments. Like now we can have the violin and all, at least 4 instruments with those different types of voices. But you find that the piano can actually play all the 4 types of voices. And then another term that we are going to define is the orchestra. I know you have heard about the term many times. The orchestra is an ensemble or combination of many instruments which is led by the leader, who uses either his hands to lead the orchestra or the bariton. Great. Now let's talk about the story of Lucifer. Of course, all of us, I think we know that according to the biblical account, Lucifer was the name before Satan was thrown from heaven. And as I said, there are many clues in the Bible which show us that Lucifer may have been the head of choir in heaven. As we look in Ezekiel, the account in Ezekiel chapter 28 really describes how Satan was perfect before falling and how he fell and was denied those privileges. Now, if we look at the book of Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 12.
Thou sealest up the sum, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty.
Yes, Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 12, which as you have heard, it says that thou sealest up the sum, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. That's just part of how, of course, as also this is for another day, that Satan was one of the drop dead gorgeous. He was gorgeous, he was very beautiful. So this story that you see here, Satan being represented as a demon or something, sometimes you should question that. So Satan was perfect in heaven. He was, of course, as I said, the claim that Satan had 7 voices, we don't have a direct proof in the Bible, but there are some clues, and some people have ended up to say that Satan indeed was a choir master in heaven. And also on that issue of being a choir master in heaven, there are many clues in the Bible. So as we saw in Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 15, which says that thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created, until iniquity was found in thee. Iniquity or sin was found in thee. So of course, as we said, the one Bible verse that really gives a clue to us and to the fact that Satan may have been having a very beautiful voice in heaven, and possibly 7 voices, or being a choir master, is actually Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 13, which says,
The workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou wast created. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth.
So as you heard there, the word timbrel has been used, or in other versions, tabrets, and we find that in Hebrew actually the word tabret means strings or chords. So Lucifer is thought to have been having a very sweet voice. So the strings actually, or the tabret, means strings or chords in Latin. Like now, that is my C chord. Another clue from the Bible which makes us conclude that indeed the tabrets or timbrels refers to a musical instrument is Exodus chapter 15, verse 20, which says that then Miriam the prophetess, the sisters of Aaron, took the timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out of her with timbrels and danced. So which means this timbrels is associated with dancing, which means singing is involved somewhere. And also another term that has been used in Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 12 is pipes, that thy pipes were made. Remember, it's not once or twice that we have referred to the trachea and the esophagus as the pipes, and we say that the trachea is the pipe for the windpipe. So again, that's one of the clues. And also we find in Job chapter 38, verse 7, that when the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy. Great, but unfortunately our story ends that Satan, iniquity was found in him. He did not, because we are told in Isaiah chapter 14, verse 11, that thy pomp is brought down to the grave, the noise of thy voice, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. So unfortunately, the story of Lucifer is a sad one. It ends in a sad way. Great, that was just part of the introduction of this part 1 as we try to look for clues and evidence that indeed Saturn was the head of the choir in heaven and had many voices, particularly 7. So if you enjoyed the video, like, comment and share the video below, and subscribe also to this channel as we await part 2 of this episode to look into the clues that will help us to determine if indeed there were 7 voices but we lost 3, because as per today we only know 4 types of voices. Thank you, and let's meet in the next video.